Pranked Duelist. We have a top 16 deck profile of what I want to say the weirdest amalgamation of a deck I've ever seen. And this guy is either the luckiest motherfucker I've ever seen or one of the smartest.
Demonetized.
But I guess we might as well go straight to the deck profile. Before we get into that though, what was the turnout for me?
Okay, so hold on. I have all my matchups right here. So, round 1 was pure Orcus. I lost to it. I was off by a little bit of damage in order to calculate it. I had to draw an Orochi in order to be able to even be 50 over 50. Round 2 is Pendulum. He was a newer player. I 2-0'd him. Round 3 was Medolce. I 2-1'd him. It wasn't like that hard of a matchup, but like you'll see what I did, what really got me the win. Round 4 was Striker. I 2-0'd him. 5 was True Draco. And then round 6 was Trickstar. 7 was Heroes, and then 8th was the last round was Pendulum Magicians. I ended up 2-0'ing the Pendulum Magicians. And it was just a lot. The tournament, like I ended up going X2. I lost to Mitch, who got top 8 with the Little Light Orcus. That's literally my worst matchup, and I'll explain because literally one card as a thought. Only reason I lost.
All right, well, I guess we might as well get into the deck profile. So.
3 Orochi, best card in the deck, hands down. 3 Fairy Tale Luna. It's literally one of our normal summoned. Search for a spellcaster with 1850 attack. It has a quick effect of you target one monster on your opponent's side of the field, and then it and Fairy Tale Luna go to the hand, bounce back to the hand, unless they send a monster from the main deck or the extra deck with the same name to the graveyard.
That's not Snow.
No. It's baby Snow.
It'd be busted.
Oh yeah. If Snow is here, this deck would be completely nuts. And why is because 3 Maju. Originally, my teammate kind of like made a point that I didn't necessarily have a win con, so I was playing a card in my side deck at 3, and I was siding these, and I'll show you those whenever the side comes around. But putting these 3 in, was undoubtedly probably the best thing that I did all day. 2 Pankratops. I wanted spot removal. It's a 2600. It tributes for cost, so I was able to play around like skill drain, which is actually kind of hurts my deck. 3 Eater of the Millions. Not exactly a card you see very often anymore. You banish 5 or more cards from your hand, field, or extra deck, but it has to be a minimum of 5. And then whenever it battles, period, like during yours or your opponent's turn, at the start of damage step, it banishes a card face down. So during my Striker matchup, I special summon this, swung into the Shizuku. Shizuku banished face down, and Ray would not trigger because Striker's face down. Game state wouldn't recognize that a Sky Striker Link monster was moved from the field.
Nice.
For the Kaijus.
Okay.
3 Gamma Seal, 1 Kamungus, 1 Doggeron, and 1 Jizukuru.
So this is legitimately just Gren Maju Luna control.
Yes, essentially. The Kaijus were literally, they put in the most work in the entire day. These things got me out of so many situations. I don't know what I would have done without them. Then for the hand traps, 3 Nibiru. Even if the token was close to like 11k, it wasn't that hard to like deal with because of Orochi's second effect, being able to banish 3 from my extra deck, and allow it to pop the token. So it was just easy. It's a free 3K beater, which my deck is like all about just being like super aggressive. 3 Thanos. This was okay. I only got it off like maybe 2 or 3 times in the entire tournament. 3 Ash. Staple. Originally I was going to cut this to 2, but I felt like if I cut it to 2, I wasn't going to see this at all. Same thing with Ogre. Ogre and Ash performed amazingly today, so I would not cut those to 2 at all. Only 2 Valor. I figured since it's like the weekend before the ban list, I was gonna see like a lot of like Guard Dragon, a lot of Orchist, then like Orchist Guard Dragon, variants like that. Effect Valor is good, but I would have rather to Ash the LP over Effect Valor, because if you Effect Valor the LP, I believe it would negate the effect that they would be able to special summon other than dragons. 3 main deck, no material. My only bad matchup is Lunalight Orchist. That's it. Every other deck, I either 2 or 2-1, based on either I screwed myself over during that game, or I just kind of like drew too many kaijus at once.
Okay.
At no material, I played against 1 Lunalight Orchist. I didn't draw this against Mitch, I died a little inside. But I dropped this on the on Pendulum, and then I also dropped it on Orchist, and it literally just ended their turn. Drop it on Mermaid and they can't do anything.
Alright.
3 Battle Fader.
If you run no material, you might as well run something that does the same thing.
Okay, so my whole thing was my deck is not an OTK deck. It can OTK, but it's a very situational OTK. It requires 2 specific cards, but versus this, this allows me to poke. You run board removal, and you get rid of my cards and you attack directly, and I still live. And it actually, oh my god. Okay, so hold on. This card actually won me in time. Point blank. Against Strikers. He summoned Hayate, and he was gonna attack me for, I was like 13 ahead of him. 1,300 ahead of him. And I had a Orochi, and he summoned Ray, went into Hayate, and there was literally like 5 seconds on the clock. He went to attack directly, and I just went Battle Fader.
Alright.
And that won me in time.
How salty was he?
Dude was pissed. He literally just looked at me and said, "Who runs that?"
Me, bitch.
And then the only spell I run, Second's Light. So my whole theory behind the deck was this is a deck that can really, really abuse the fact with Luna being able to bounce the Kaiju and then Kaiju another boss monster. So Second's Light, I didn't want to run like Pot of Desires because I would also like thin out my deck too much for Orochi. But I just wanted to be able to run like maximum hand traps, and you can do that with Second's Light.
How many hand traps did you play?
A shit ton.
3, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 hand traps.
Half your deck.
Yeah, I ran 43. It's a little under half.
Wow. You put those no materials in last, and it made it 43. Huh?
No, the Second's Light was 43.
Oh.
I took out the 3 ghost spells. So, originally I took out the ghost spells for the DD Crows, but then I took out the DD Crows to keep the no materials in.
Okay.
Let's see that.
Originally, when me and my co-captain here were building, it was 45. So, and then we cut it down to 43 by taking out the DD Crows.
Okay.
For the extra deck, 1 Diflexor Chimera. I kind of figured I'd see Salad or some form of Cybers. This also makes my monsters Armades. Rare Tech Mega Fleet. I was expecting Cyber Dragon Orcus, didn't see one. I was expecting Cyber Dragon, didn't see one. Dragostaplia. I was expecting Thunder, didn't play one. So I'll show you. I run Predaplant, Dragostaplia, Starving Venom, and then Predaplant, Trapalverdum. So I run these three specifically for the situations of Thunder where they have Titan Colossus. This is if they have Colossus, and this is if they end with Warlord Colossus. So it's for those specific situations. I don't use my extra deck a lot, so I figured I could be able just to cover all three, the full spectrum of them. Link Kribo, Battle Fader's a level 1. This deck becomes amazingly consistent whenever Relinquished Anima comes out, because you attack with Battle Fader, I drop Battle Fader, and then I kaiju your monster in front of the extra deck monster zone, and then I go Relinquished Anima with Battle Fader, take your monster with Relinquished Anima. Underclock Taker. Card put in a lot of work, actually. I OTK'd with this against a hero player. One Nightmare Phoenix, just generic. Trisbania, thought was against back row decks, but I didn't use it once. BLS used this quite a few times, actually. Strikers couldn't out it. Surprisingly, True Dracos actually had an issue outing it. Topology Zeroboros. So my thought behind this was, rather than like playing against like Orcust or like decks that had like multiple back row, what was like the main one that we were targeting for the, to banish instead of destroy?
It was mainly just Orcus.
Yeah, it was mainly just Orcus, and then this also gains 200 attack for every banished card. And whenever a monster is summoned to a zone a link monster points to, this banishes all cards that your opponent's out of the field.
It basically becomes a
Doesn't
fourth
it banish
Maju.
everything?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it banishes everything. But I don't run back row, so I don't really care. 2 Dingirsu. I will put these to the side and I will explain them. 1 Pain Gainer. 1 Seven Sins. I'll put those to the side and I'll explain those. For my side deck, 2 Denko. This is a control deck, but it's a control deck that Striker, Altergeist, and everything like that really have a problem outing. So against True Draco, I actually ended my board with this, Battle Fader, Luna, and Pankratops. Not Luna, Doggeron and Pankratops, and they had an issue getting over that board. So I was like, okay, I feel pretty safe with just this, and kept on poking. 2 Great Illegal.
Okay, so explain this one.
So I took this idea from the OCG. When it's destroyed by a card effect, monster card effect, I can target one monster on my opponent's side of the field, and I can gain control of it. So my whole theory behind it was the same theory that the OCG follows, is that the board is Longirsu. This is for pure Orcust. And then, so the board they end is Longirsu, Galatea, Dingirsu. That's like their maximum board, okay? So, Eagle, attack into the Galatea, you take the 300. This is destroyed by battle. You take the Longirsu, equip it, run over the Galatea, deal damage, and then main phase 2, overlay into Dingirsu on top of the Longirsu, sending their Dingirsu. And then after that, you can either, depending on the situation, you can go into Pain Gainer and then 7 Sins. It really varies. But so like the Pain Gainer, like that was Dingirsu.
Is that how we feel?
So like Pain Gainer, like it never really came up, but like so, it's, how to explain this? I'm trying to find like a simple way to explain this. It gains defense equal to the combined ranks of all Xyz monster I control times 200. And then while it has an Xyz material, each time my opponent activates a spell or trap card, it inflicts 600 damage, so also would help during time. And then once per turn I can detach one Xyz material from it and then destroy all face-up monsters my opponent controls with defense less than this. and then you overlay on top of 7 Sins, which literally is just kind of like Dingirsu but for itself, and it's a 4K body, and it can banish all monsters on my opponent's side of the field the turn after it was summoned with its just being able to overlay over Pain Gainer. And then, so I sided for going first majority of the time. Triple Extravagance. I didn't want to side for Desires because I didn't want to go through my my resources too fast, and I felt like because I didn't really use my extra deck, I felt like Extravagance was just like a better option. 3 Super Polys. Didn't need to use these at all today. I was very sad, but that's where the fusions came in. Double Twin Twisters, and triple There Can Be Only Once. That's literally my side deck for this event.
Well, that's a pretty interesting deck profile in general. Honestly, I don't think I've seen something that would top like this other than in the OCG.
Got any shoutouts?
Yeah, have any shoutouts?
Shoutouts to Prank Kids Duelist for uploading this video onto his YouTube. Shout out to the rest of my team, Eagle Factor. Check us out, link below. Definitely check out my co-captain's 26th place. I believe he had the better Muskets deck profile than most Muskets players that I've seen. I helped him build it, so I'm a little biased, but honestly, I highly recommend. But just take this deck, build it on Dueling Book, build it on YGO Pro. If you can do better, I want people to do better than me with this deck, so I can copy their list. So I can see who can improve this deck. So I'm challenging every single person that sees this video, see if you can improve this deck to a better ratio. Also, shout out to our locals, Jesse James Comics. I would like to thank God.
It's because of him that I got most of my wins.
So there's definitely divine intervention involved.
Yeah, right. Shout out to probably my best friend, my co-captain, Kevin here, staying up till like close to like midnight, 2 a.m. like weekly. I've been working on this deck for months. How long have we been playtesting with this deck?
Literally months.
Like almost half a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was just waiting for Orochi to come out, and then when it did, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna do it.
All right, well.
And shout out to our cameraman over here for Eagle Factor, Jordan.
All right, well, thank you so much for showing off that list.
Oh, also shout out to our buddy Marco. Let me use the Dingirsu. And another shout out to Kevin letting me use like the extravagances and the no materials.
All right, thank you so much. This has been Frank Kids Duelist. I'm trying to make road decks meta. Have a great day.